and I'm a one student at Rehan School, Istanbul campus. So, viewers, today I'm here with a new Maya. So, our today's Maya topic is how does pollution affect our planet? So, let's start our today's Maya. First of all, call the Maya for some questions.
Hey, what's up?
Okay, so my first question from you is what is pollution? What are pollutants? So, please give me answer on this topic. So, let's start your answer, Maya.
Let me look that up. Pollution is when contaminants get into our natural environment and cause harm to living things and ecosystems. These contaminants, which we call pollutants, can be solids, liquids, gases, or even energy like heat or noise. They come from human activities, like factories and waste, but sometimes from natural stuff too, like volcanic ash. Does that make sense? My bad. I can give you a much longer, more detailed answer if you'd like. So, pollution is essentially when we introduce anything harmful into the environment at a faster rate than nature can handle it. This can mess things up for humans, animals, and plants. It's not just about obvious things like trash, it can be any substance, solid, liquid, or gas, or even different forms of energy like heat, loud noises, or radiation. While some pollution can come from natural events like a volcano erupting, the term usually refers to things caused by human activities. Now, pollutants are the specific things that cause all this trouble. They're released into our ecosystems and can really mess with the quality of our air, water, soil, and even our food, which then impacts the health of everything living. Pollutants can be artificial, like pesticides or plastics, or they can be natural substances like heavy metals or even carbon dioxide. They only become pollutants when human activities cause them to be present in harmful amounts. Does that give you a better idea? We can also dive into the different types of pollution like air, water, and land pollution and how they impact us.
Okay, but Maya, I don't have any idea. Okay, in fact, so why is pollution a global problem, and what are the main causes of pollution? Please give me answer on this topic. So let's start your answer.
Let me look that up. Pollution is a global problem because it doesn't just stay in one place. Contaminants released in one area can travel far, impacting regions all over the world. The main causes are things like industrial activity, agriculture, transportation, and waste that isn't of properly. Does that make sense?
So Maya, my next question is how does pollution affect the environment, and what is air pollution? Please give me answer on this question. So let's start.
Let me look. Pollution messes with the environment in a big way, hurting ecosystems, reducing the variety of life, and messing up natural processes. Air pollution specifically is when harmful stuff contaminates the air inside or outside, changing its natural makeup. This can damage forests and crops, make water acidic, and even contribute to climate change.
Okay, so Maya, my next question from you is that what are the major sources of air pollution, and what is water pollution? So please give me answer.
Let me look that up. Major pollution include things like power generation, industry, transportation, and agriculture, especially when fossil fuels and biomass are burned. Natural events like wildfires and dust storms also play a role. Ayef, eki hugmint ftur geturdu sagt zeta anan hat. My apologies. Seems I misunderstood. What'd you like to talk about in English? Okay, let's get back to it. The major sources of air pollution come from a few key areas. Things like burning fossil fuels for electricity and in factories, emissions from cars and other transportation, and agricultural practices all contribute a lot. Even things we do in our homes, like burning wood for heat or cooking, can be a big source. Then there are also natural sources like wildfires and volcanic eruptions that release pollutants into the air.
That's really great. So, what is water pollution and how does plastic cause water pollution? Please give me answer on this question. So let's start your answer.
Let me look that up. Water pollution is when harmful stuff contaminates bodies of water, like lakes, rivers, and oceans, making them unsafe and messing up aquatic ecosystems. Plastic causes water pollution in a few ways. Big pieces of plastic, like bottles and bags, directly pollute the water. These then break down into tiny pieces called microplastics, which stick around in the environment. Microplastics can also come from things like microbeads in products or fibers from clothing. These microplastics can then release chemicals into the water and attract other pollutants, which aquatic life can then ingest.
Okay,
Does
Maya,
that explanation of,
what is land?
hey, Fazan Ali, soft,
What is land soil pollution?
let me look that up.
I said that Maya. What?
Land soil pollution,
Okay, okay.
also called soil contamination, happens when there are harmful substances in the soil at levels high enough to negatively impact human health and ecosystems.
Okay. So my next question from you is how does air pollution affect human health? Please give me answer on this question.
Okay, so land soil pollution or soil contamination is basically when harmful substances are present in the soil at concentrations high enough to damage living things and the environment. This messes with the soil's quality and its ability to support life. Now, how does all this pollution affect human health? Let me look that up.
Yeah, because it's really too short. It's really too short. So please give me like 1 minute answer, please.
My bad, I didn't catch that last bit. What were you saying?
Okay, we do not have any mind. So what gases causes air pollution? Please give me answer on this question. So let's start.
Let me look that up. Hey, hey.
Guys, here. Wow, so my question from you is what gases cause air pollution? Please give me answer on this question. So let's start your answer, Maya.
So you're diving into air pollution. It's a super important topic. The main gases that cause air pollution are carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxides, ground level ozone, and volatile organic compounds. Each of these comes from different sources and has different effects, but they all contribute to making our air unhealthy. Does that give you a good start?
Okay. So Maya, my next question from you is what is smoke? So please give me answer on this question.
Let me check on that. My bad. I thought you were just looking for a quick overview. You want the full picture. So, when we talk about air pollution, we're really looking at a mix of gases and tiny particles that aren't good for us or the planet. The big players are particulate matter, ground level ozone, carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, and nitrogen oxides. But there are others too, like volatile organic compounds, ammonia, and even polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons. These all come from different places. A huge one is burning fossil fuels, think cars, power plants, and even heating our homes. Industries and factories also pump out a lot of these pollutants. Agriculture is another big contributor, especially with ammonia from livestock and methane from cattle. Even nature can add to it with things like wildfires and volcanic eruptions, though human activity is the main driver. And let's not forget what's happening inside our homes. Cooking and heating can create indoor air pollution. Some of these pollutants are released directly, like carbon monoxide. Those are called primary pollutants. Others, like ground level ozone, form in the atmosphere when different pollutants react with each other, often with sunlight. Those are secondary pollutants. Serious issue, you know? The World Health Organization says almost everyone on the planet breathes air that isn't up to par. That can lead to all sorts of health problems like heart disease, lung disease, and even cancer. And beyond our health, it harms the environment too, contributing to things like acid rain and global warming. Does that give you the comprehensive answer you were looking for?
Okay, so Maya, my next question from you is how does air pollution contribute to global warming? So please give me answer on this.
That's a crucial connection to make. Air pollution and global warming are definitely linked, but it's a bit more complex than just one causing the other. So, when we talk about air pollution, we're usually thinking about things that directly harm our health and the environment in a more immediate sense, like smog, soot, and those specific gases we just discussed. These are often called criteria pollutants because they're regulated due to their direct impact. Global warming, on the other hand, is primarily driven by the accumulation of greenhouse gases in the Earth's atmosphere. These gases trap heat, leading to a gradual increase in the planet's average temperature. Here's how they connect. Many of the same activities that cause air pollution also release greenhouse gases. The biggest culprit is the burning of fossil fuels, coal, oil, and natural gas. When we burn these for electricity, transportation, or industrial processes, they release carbon dioxide, CO2. This is the most significant greenhouse gas and a major byproduct of fossil fuel combustion. While not typically considered an air pollutant in the same way as, say, sulfur dioxide, its immense quantity makes it the primary driver of global warming. Methane, CH4. This is another potent greenhouse gas. It's released from natural gas leaks, agricultural activities like livestock farming and rice paddies, and decomposing waste in landfills. Methane is also considered an air pollutant in some contexts due to its role in ground level ozone formation. Point 3. Nitrous oxide, N2O, this greenhouse gas comes from agricultural practices, fertilizers, industrial processes, and the burning of fossil fuels. Now, some other air pollutants have more direct, though sometimes localized, effects on global warming. Black carbon soot. This is a component of particulate matter. When black carbon is emitted from things like diesel engines, burning wood, or some industrial processes and settles on ice and snow, it darkens the surface. Darker surfaces absorb more sunlight instead of reflecting it, which speeds up melting and contributes to warming in those areas. Tropospheric ozone, ground level ozone. We talked about this as a secondary pollutant formed from reactions involving nitrogen oxides and volatile organic compounds beyond its direct.
Okay, so Maya, my next question from you is that what is acid rain and what is acid rain? Please give me answer on this topic.
Let me look that up. Okay, so you're asking about acid rain. It's a pretty serious environmental issue that ties into a lot of what we've been talking about with air pollution. Basically, acid rain is any form of precipitation, rain, snow, fog, or even dry particles that has unusually high levels of acidic compounds. You know how we use the pH scale to measure how acidic or alkaline something is? Pure water has a neutral pH of 7. Regular, unpolluted rain is actually slightly acidic, usually around a pH of 5.6, because carbon dioxide in the atmosphere naturally dissolves into it, forming a weak carbonic acid. But when we talk about acid rain, we're referring to precipitation with a pH significantly lower than that, typically below 5.0, and sometimes even as low as 2.0, which is incredibly acidic, like lemon juice or vinegar. Now, how does it form? It primarily starts with two main types of air pollutants: sulfur dioxide, SO2. A lot of this comes from burning fossil fuels that contain sulfur, especially coal in power plants and industrial facilities, but also from industrial processes like smelting. Nitrogen, oxides, NOx. These are released when fossil fuels are burned at high temperatures, like in car engines, power plants, and industrial boilers. Here's the process. When power plants, factories, and vehicles release these sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxide gases into the atmosphere, they don't just stay there. Transformation. Once in the atmosphere, these gases react with water, oxygen, and other chemicals. Sulfur dioxide turns into sulfuric acid, and nitrogen oxides transform into nitric acid. This happens high up in the atmosphere. Deposition. These newly formed acids then mix with water vapor and other atmospheric particles. When this acidic mixture falls back to Earth, it's what we call acid rain. It can fall as rain, snow, mist, or fog, or even as dry acidic particles and gases, which is called dry deposition. The wind can carry these acidic pollutants hundreds or even thousands of miles from their original source before they fall, meaning that areas far away from industrial centers can still be affected. There are some natural sources of these gases too, like volcanic eruptions and decaying vegetation, but the vast majority of acid rain. Does that explanation of acid rain make sense? I can go into more detail about its effects if you'd like. Hey, are you still there?
Okay, so
I'm happy to keep
my
chatting if
my
you
next
are.
question from you is that what how does water pollution affect aquatic life? So please give me very interesting answer on this topic. So let's start your answer, Maya.
Hey there. That's a super important question, and the answer is unfortunately pretty grim for our aquatic friends. Water pollution can wreak havoc on aquatic life in so many ways. First off, think about all the chemicals and toxins that end up in our water. Things like pesticides, industrial waste, and even pharmaceuticals. When these enter rivers, lakes, and oceans, they can directly poison fish, amphibians, and invertebrates. Some toxins might not kill immediately, but they can build up in the organism's bodies, causing long-term health problems, reproductive issues, or making them sick, which then affects other animals higher up the food chain who eat them. It's like a ripple effect of poison throughout the ecosystem. Then there's eutrophication, which is a fancy word for when too many nutrients like nitrogen and phosphorus from fertilizers and sewage get into the water. This causes massive overgrowth of algae, what we call an algal bloom. These blooms block sunlight from reaching plants at the bottom, killing them off. And when the huge amount of algae eventually dies and decomposes, the process sucks all the oxygen out of the water. This creates dead zones where fish and other aquatic creatures can't breathe and either have to leave or they die. Imagine trying to live in a room with no air. That's what it's like for them. Plastic pollution is another massive problem. We're talking about everything from tiny microplastics to huge fishing nets. Aquatic animals can get entangled in larger plastic debris, leading to injuries, starvation, or drowning. They also mistake smaller plastic pieces for food, filling their stomachs with indigestible material, which causes them to starve. These plastics can also leach chemicals into the water and into the animals that ingest them. And let's not forget about sediment pollution. Construction, deforestation, and poor agricultural practices can lead to excessive soil erosion. This sediment washes into waterways, making the water cloudy. This cloudy water can block sunlight, hindering aquatic plants. It can also smother fish eggs, fill in important habitats, and clog the gills of fish and other organisms, making it hard for them to breathe and feed. Then there's thermal pollution, which is when water temperature changes drastically, usually due to industrial discharges like cooling water from power plants. Aquatic organisms are often very sensitive to temperature fluctuations, and sudden changes can stress them, reduce oxygen.
Okay, so Maya, my next question from you is what are common sources of water pollution and how does oil spills harm oceans? Please give me answer on this question.
Okay, so let's break down the common sources of water pollution and then dive into the devastating impact of oil spills. When we talk about common sources of water pollution, it's a really broad category because almost anything we do on land can eventually affect our water. Here are some of the main culprits. One, agricultural runoff. This is a huge one. Think about all the fertilizers, pesticides, and herbicides used on farms. When it rains, these chemicals don't just stay in the soil, they wash off into nearby rivers, lakes, and eventually the ocean. The excess nutrients from fertilizers lead to those algal blooms we just discussed, creating dead zones. Pesticides, as you can imagine, are designed to kill pests, and they don't discriminate between a bug on a crop and a tiny aquatic organism. Two, industrial discharge. Factories and industrial plants often release untreated or poorly treated wastewater directly into waterways. This wastewater can contain a cocktail of toxic chemicals, heavy metals.
So Maya, that's really great answer. ऐसा मैम कह रही कॉलेज स्टॉप करते हो तो मोबाइल लेके Okay, so we was again called the Maya because having a network issue. Okay,
Hey, what's up?
so Maya, my next question from you is what is clean drinking water important? So please give me why is clean drinking water important? Please give me answer on this topic.
That's a really fundamental question and super important. Clean drinking water isn't just nice to have, it's absolutely essential for pretty much everything we care about our health, our societies, and even our planet. First and foremost, human health relies completely on clean water. Our bodies are mostly water, and every single cell, tissue, and organ needs it to function properly. When we drink contaminated water, we're exposing ourselves to all sorts of nasty stuff. Disease causing microorganisms. We're talking about bacteria, viruses, and parasites that can cause severe illnesses like cholera, dysentery, typhoid, and giardiasis. These can lead to dehydration, malnutrition, and even death, especially in children and people with weakened immune systems. Toxic chemicals, industrial waste, pesticides, heavy metals like lead and mercury, And even improperly disposed pharmaceuticals can leach into our water sources. Ingesting these can cause a range of chronic health problems, including kidney damage, neurological disorders, developmental issues in children, and various cancers. Things like from agricultural runoff can be particularly dangerous for infants, causing a condition called blue baby syndrome. Got it. So, is there anything else about clean water or related topics you'd like to explore,
Okay.
Faizan Ali Safurwala?
No. So, this was our Maya. I hope you like it. I meet with the new Maya next topic.